And we are live. Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee, and familiar face, of course, Tom Wells as usual.
Good
I
evening,
think
everybody.
Rich is going to jump on. Jason may jump on. Joe got tied up, but we're gonna dive into this.
Yes, sir.
I've been itching all day to talk about this, as I am pretty pissed about some of this. So just to kind of recap, let me type a little welcome in here. So what I want to talk about, what we want to talk about tonight is what's going on in New York. And I don't think that a lot of people realize how big this really is. And that's kind of what I want to dive into, what this really says. There's so many moving parts to this. But just to recap a little bit, a 24-year-old, I think he was 23 at the time, named Daniel Penny, was on a subway in New York. I believe it was in Manhattan. While he's on the subway, a 30-year-old black man, and Daniel Penny is white, named Jordan Neely, got on. He was just belligerent. He was very you could tell something was wrong, with him. He was violent. He was yelling. He was threatening people. Well, it escalated to where somebody had to step in and do something. And that person was Daniel Penny. Well, Daniel Penny ended up putting him in a chokehold, and he ended up dying later. Now, there's debate if he died over the chokehold or if he died over all the drugs that were in his system. He was a drug addict. He had been arrested 30 years old, had been arrested over 40 times. That doesn't mean he should die, but it is relevant in my book. But we'll get into all that. I just want to brief a little bit about it, just for our listeners that may haven't heard everything about it. So originally they weren't charging him. Well, of course, and this is what I'm so passionate and pissed off about, because it's typical mob justice. This guy should have never been charged, in my opinion. And of course, Tom, I want yours. So the protests started, and they started getting the political pressure from, which I don't call activist groups. To me, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. So they started getting pressure from terrorist organizations like Black Lives Matter. And that piece of shit, charlatan, Alvin Bragg, the one that prosecuted Trump, charges this man. Well, they go to trial, and the trial's a week or two, and he ends up a hung jury on the highest charge, which is manslaughter. And then once they did a hung jury, the judge dismissed it. And then they end up coming back with a not guilty verdict yesterday on the lesser charge of negligent homicide. So, Tom, tell me how much you know about it, what you've been following, and just kind of give some thoughts of it. And like I said, I have went down a big rabbit hole on this, and I'm pretty passionate about this.
Yes. Well, a couple of thoughts right off the bat. One thing that I learned today, actually, that I did not know, was that NYPD, or the city of New York, rather, has a crisis list, like I hate to use the term most wanted list, but it's for emotionally and mentally disturbed persons who are in critical situations. And they have a list of those folks. And this person, Mr. Neely, is that right?
Yes.
Was on that list. And so, I mean, this is somebody. Here he is in the subway displaying, and of course we've talked about mental illness on the show and some of the different things, traumas that a person can endure. And mental illness is a serious thing.
It is.
But it has to be dealt with, and we don't deal with it well in this country. One of the worst things we do is we turn people who have mental illness that is a threat to other people. We turn them loose on the streets and act like it's no big deal, or that we just can't deal with it. We have the ability and the resources to deal with things like that, and unfortunately, we choose not to in many ways. But this individual is on the subway. He's threatening these people. He's telling them he's going to kill them. for all intents and purposes, these people believed what this person was threatening them with. And here you have a person who I consider a good Samaritan who steps in and does the right thing by restraining this individual. Yes, is it a shame that he died? It is. But the plain, simple fact of the matter is he was threatening other people's lives, and there was no reason why people there should have thought he wouldn't have carried that out. And the other thing I wanted to say, which is right off the bat, I'm going to give my wife total credit for this because she's the one that talked about this when we were discussing it.
Okay.
The word vigilante is being thrown out all over the place, and not only in this case, and a lot.
It's not fitting at all, but go ahead.
It's not, and it's also being discussed in that whole the CEO murder in New York. But vigilantism, and I'm gonna share with you the Webster's Dictionary, which I downloaded here earlier, and because I wanted to share it here on the show. It says that a vigilante is a person who acts outside of the law to punish or avenge a crime, or to right a perceived wrong. That's not what happened in this case. Now that's might
not
be
vigilante, yeah.
Yeah, that's not what happened in this case on the subway. This is an individual that in a moment of truth steps up to defend other people, much like we're asked to do in law enforcement. And, as we know only too well that, when we use force in law enforcement, sometimes people get hurt and sometimes people die. But it's through their non-compliance. In every single case I've seen, it's through people's non-compliance that gets them hurt or killed. And this is the same thing in this case here.
So, of course, race becomes a big issue. And first thing that we need to note is that at least half, maybe more, of the people that Daniel Penny was protecting were black. So there was no racism. So to say, for anyone to say racism would only be an argument if, and nobody can say this, for that to be an argument, Tom, we would have to be able to argue the point that if Jordan Neely was white and doing the same act, Tom, that Daniel Penny would have ignored it. What reasonable person would say that?
Right. No,
exactly. What reasonable person can say that if Jordan Neely was white, Daniel Penny would have said, "Oh man, go ahead, white boy. Go ahead and threaten these people. Go ahead and harass these innocent people, women, black and white." That makes no fucking sense. That's why I'm so fucking tired of the racism argument. There is absolutely no argument for that.
No,
there's nothing you can argue. There's no argument for racism in this case. No. Whatsoever. Oh no, there's argument in racism, but we'll get to that. The reason he was charged was racism. Yes. So there is racism in this case. And I don't believe in reverse racism. Racism is racism, no matter what your race is.
Right.
That's the only racism in here.
Well, the only racism that would have been could even be argued in this case would be that if Daniel Penny selected Mr. Neely because he was black and for a targeted offensive, let's say assault or offensive, act against him, which clearly did he know he was going to be on that subway? No, he had no idea. And all of a sudden this thing happened spur of the moment. That is not a racist act. It doesn't matter. I believe that Daniel Penny would have done that to anybody who was threatening people in that subway, regardless of their race or who they, whatever
100%,
their ethnicity.
100%.
It doesn't make any difference at all. He would have acted the same way because he was taking care of other people. He's the kind of person we need more of in this country, or people that are willing to step up and do the right thing for others. It's coming.
Yes, I agree.
That's coming in this country.
I agree, Tom. But let me tell you, now he was found innocent. But how many hundreds of thousands of dollars do you think this kid is in debt over this?
Oh, I can't even. A lot.
Yeah. So there's no way he didn't win, Tom. He lost.
No.
Now the winners are people like me and you that want to be able to defend ourselves and defend other people, because that's some good case law that's been established now. But he didn't win this. His life is forever altered. Don't think it's ruined. Whatever path he was on, he's probably going to be on a different path now. He will probably have to relocate, which he needs to relocate and get out of that fucking shithole of New York City.
Death threats left and right, he said. I just saw an interview with him earlier tonight. He actually did a public interview today, and there's death threats against him.
Well, hopefully he makes millions and is able to pay these attorney fees. And, then now a lawsuit was filed yesterday. And look, I'm going to preface this. There's nothing worse to me, and hopefully you and I never experience this. Bearing a child is to me the worst. There's nothing worse than bearing a child. Okay.
Yep.
So it's hard for me to really tee off on Jordan Neely's dad, but I'm going to. So he gets up there and starts grandstanding. All right. And he files a lawsuit. Well, the first red flag that made me start looking into this was his dad's name is not Neely. He does not carry his dad's name. So I started looking into it. Not saying that's always a sign that it was a deadbeat. His dad did not raise him. His dad was not in his life. So they start talking about how he was mentally ill and he was unstable and he had unstable housing and it's society's fault. And the dad's going to get up there and blame society? You're the fucking parent. This is your fault. Whatever your name is, it ain't Neely. It is your fault. Where's the self-responsibility to bring? Yes, he was failed. He was failed by the justice system. He should have been locked up, been arrested 42 times, and he was failed by bad parenting. He was raised by a grandmother and a mom part of the time, a single mom part of the time. His dad wasn't in the picture for a long time. But of course, when it's time to get on TV and grieve your son, you get on there, fuck you. You don't get to do that. You do not have that right to do that. You failed him.
Well, I believe that honestly that there's going to be a lot. There's not an ear for that anymore. There just isn't. I mean, society's changing right before our eyes right now, and people are starting to take back the word's responsibility. They're starting to take back, self-control, I guess you could say. But the bottom line is that no one's listening to that. I mean, of course, he's going to get on the TV and say that. He's trying to save face, whatever it is he's trying to do. He's going to say whatever he's going to say. But honestly, no one's listening. No one's listening.
Well, no, Tom, look how big this was. You realize that they had I was shocked that we're going to get to where we're drinking in a minute. I forgot to cover that.
That's all right.
I was shocked that they did not come back. I figured they were coming back with the negligent. I figured they were going to come back with that, and it was a whole weird deal. But does this show you how I'm proud of this of our society right now?
Yep.
And this all you started seeing this with the election. New York City, the anti-police and anti, it's not a place for me where I would want to have to defend myself. Yeah. I wouldn't feel comfortable being tried by a jury in New York City. For him, for this white man to be found not guilty, which he should have been, the man should have never been charged. There's no doubt about that. But tell me how big this is. This says something about in New York City. I mean, in my town, I don't know about yours. My town, it never got past the district attorney.
No.
But
it wouldn't have here either until the new district attorney got elected. But
yeah,
previous one, no way.
But you know how big this is?
It's huge.
Yeah, it is. It says that people are tired of the race baiting, tired of the of being told what they're supposed to believe, and they're seeing right through this. They're seeing right through this, and the intimidation. They had protests just like they did with George Floyd. They had protests during the entire trial. Terrorist groups like Black Lives Matter protested so they would intimidate the jurors. That's what they do every single time.
Didn't work, did it?
Nope, it didn't work this time. So I think that says a lot. And now, of course, they're calling for and I don't know if you watched the video I sent y'all today, but I teed off this morning, and I'm gonna tee off tomorrow morning too. Black Lives Matter is very relevant, but we have got to stop. When I say we, the mainstream media has got to stop giving them a voice. I mean, this man is calling for, he's supposed to be the leader, calling for white people to be murdered because of this.
To avenge his
To avenge it. And that makes absolutely no sense.
Vigilantism right there.
Yeah, that's what. That's to right or wrong. That is Laura's textbook definition of vigilantism. And but what's gonna happen when they're not gonna stop that until they run into the wrong group.
Yeah.
Until they run into the wrong group, they always do this in these big liberal cities. Well, I tell you right now, they come to my town, they won't leave.
Yep.
They come to my town thinking they're going to kill white people to avenge this death. They're going to wherever they show up is where they're going to stay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to shift gears to this other case, but I did want to make a comment since you just said that when we're talking about the mainstream media. I thought it was interesting. This fellow that's been arrested, Luigi, who's been arrested in the murder of the United Healthcare CEO, and they were showing him on television today going to his arraignment. And I thought yesterday when I saw him being removed from that Altoona police car with the cameras all on him, and they brought him in the building, I thought to myself, let's not do the perp walk on this guy. This guy shouldn't be getting that kind of publicity and notoriety. It's a bad idea. And what did he do today? He knew they were going to be out there, and they did the perp walk again, and he yelled and screamed and fought with the cops and made them look at him.
I'll tell you, Tom. I don't either, and I'm disappointed. We could talk about we go back and forth because that's both in New York and it's going on. I'm really disappointed in the how this guy's being glorified. Yeah, I get people's frustrations with corporate America and with healthcare. That's not okay, man. No. That's this guy is not a hero. He is we're in a cap. He is I don't know how much research you've done on him, and I haven't done much. I've just done a little.
He's from a very well-to-do family and very well.
Yeah, but he's an anti-capitalist.
Right.
He's an anti-capitalist liberal from an Ivy League school.
He just wants to be one of the long list of people that go down in history as the Lee Harvey Oswalds and all these other Mark David Chapmans and all these other idiots that are nobodies who do not deserve to have their name put on a television. That's all he is. He's nothing but a coward.
Nope, you're right. And that's what we shouldn't be giving them so much fame. And I do think there is, I think there is a lot of problems with the healthcare system, but that's not okay. I've been very I've been really upset about that. Yep. And man, I did a video on it the other day and I got some hate on it, and people are really, they're not celebrating it. They just don't have any empathy. And I do get it. And I think that you have to, I guess, look at that. But like I said, I'm very disappointed in that.
Yep. I can't think of his name. What's the name of the, he's a, like a talk show host. He's British. Piers.
Piers Morgan. Yeah.
Piers Morgan. He was on. I saw a clip of him today where he was talking to a panel, and this woman was talking about, joking about this guy getting murdered.
Oh,
and
she was.
And he tore her a new ass. He right there on the panel. He goes, I don't know what you're fucking laughing at. This is not funny. And I almost was like, I love the new world we live in. I love that people are willing. I don't care who you are, what background you are, what political thing. People are all of a sudden standing up and saying, I'm saying what I need to say, because that's bullshit.
Yep. No, I agree with that. And I felt the same way that Pierce had. I'm just disappointed. And some people that I really respect, I've seen some things they posted. I'm just disappointed in that because this person was not a person that, they're celebrating remember the movie John Q with Denzel when his son, And I get that. I'm a father. But this was entitled spoiled, Ivy League educated communist is what he is.
Yeah.
And we're going to celebrate him? Nah, fuck you. Well, we're not celebrating him. And this is a man with a family. And like I said, I do think there are some problems with there's so many more problems with our healthcare system than United Healthcare. But I don't think it's something that we should be celebrating. And this guy did not do it. This guy did it for, like you said, for to get his 15 minutes. It's just like
cares about himself. That's all there is to it.
Yep. So, what else on the anything else that stood out on either one of these cases?
Well, I mean, I'm mainly that I'm just glad that I feel like I'm living in the old America again, and I like how that feels. I like that people are, speaking their mind and not afraid to, I mean, hell, even James Carville is talking about how pissed off he is that the Democrats were using that the pronouns, the they, them, and all this other stuff. He goes, that was political. He goes, that was political lunacy. That was just, and he's right. Nothing against people that identify a certain way. That's everybody's prerogative. I'm not speaking ill against people like, that have that feeling that they want to be identified in a certain way. But this whole business of, like I saw a TV commercial last night for a drug. This was during the Bengals game. They had some drug that, for AIDS. And it said, if you were assigned, this drug is not for people assigned female at birth. What do you mean assigned female? There's no assigning females. You're born a female. And if you now think you're a male, fine.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative. That's your business. This is
like American. It was grade school homework.
Yeah, it's just so maddening,
Yeah.
Of course, that's
so. Hey, what are you drinking?
All right, tonight to celebrate the good old fashioned America, I'm drinking a classic.
Classic. That is a good one. So I'm cheating tonight. I am drinking wine.
That's tomorrow night.
I know. So my daughter's in town, and she wanted to have wine at dinner, so we did.
Yeah.
And so once I drink one, I'm just probably not going to drink the other. So I had a glass with her, and I'm having a glass with y'all.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking Freak Show. It's a really good. It's fitting for the. My life is a fucking freak show. What we're talking about is a couple of freak shows tonight, but
yeah.
Yeah, so this is a really good $18. It's about $18, and it's a good wine. But I'm mad about a couple of but I don't expect anything different from groups like Black Lives Matter. But what I'm happy is nobody's listening to them.
Right.
Nobody's listening to that nonsense. What we have to do. What I have to do is I get pissed off when I start reading these things on Twitter. Well, it's the same people saying the same thing. They're not turning anybody. And that's what we got to understand is that we're not going to ever convince people like that. Unreasonable, biased people who have their beliefs and they're right. They have a right to their beliefs and have a right to say what they want.
Yeah.
But what I'm excited about is, again, I'll say it. This is in New York, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
They should have convicted this guy, and they didn't.
Well, let's put it this way: you would have expected they would.
No, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I knew this kid thought he was going to jail. There's no doubt this kid thought he was going to jail with everything that he had been through.
Oh yeah.
And to know that a law-abiding veteran, former Marine, can get a fair trial in New York City, man, I'm with you, Tom. I think America's back.
America's back.
I think old America is back.
It is. I'm convinced. I am convinced absolutely about that. It's interesting. I didn't think about this case yesterday when this happened, or day before yesterday. We went out. There's a restaurant here in Cincinnati called Big Fish's Big Boy, and they've been having some issues where they've been evicted. They've been around for decades, and it's kind of one of those family restaurants that everybody loves. So we were going to go there. We wound up, going there for dinner the other night. And when we went out, we met some friends for lunch first, and then we went over to the other house, get things finished packing up, and then came back and went to this restaurant. And for whatever reason, I just felt like I'm going to carry my gun today. I hardly carry it at all anymore. You know, I mean, obviously it's hard to carry a gun with bib overalls at the railroad, right? So, but I carried my gun. And why did I carry my gun? Tell me. You tell me why I carried my gun on Sunday.
I don't know, Tom. I don't know.
To protect my family.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yes.
I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you know, like,
and because you have a right to, and because you can.
And I sit there thinking to myself, if I was in a public place and all of a sudden something happened and I had the ability to protect my family, but because of a choice of not, you know, I'm not saying you have to have a gun to protect yourself, but I'm just saying, the point is I carry it not because I want to be some badass or I'm, you know, hey, I'm reliving my days as a cop. I carry my gun, and I carried it when I was off duty for the same exact reason. Because if I was somewhere and something happened to my family that I could have protected them from and didn't because I was either too lazy or didn't want to carry or whatever, I'd never forgive myself. And on Sunday, I thought to myself, you need to start getting back in the habit of carrying your gun when you can, because that's the main reason to do it, and to protect others. You know what I mean? If I was in a situation like Daniel Perry and I was at Frisch's and all of a sudden somebody jumped up from a table and pulled out a knife and started slashing people, I would drop them. I wouldn't want to drop them. I don't want to be violent against people, but I would do it without any hesitation at all, because I've already made up my mind that innocent people deserve protection.
You as a man, you have to have that ability to be violent, and self-defense and defending yourself, defending your family, defending others. Tom, is not a right. It's a fucking obligation.
Yep.
As a man, as a man's man.
What happened to that show?
It's still there. It's still there.
Okay, I like that.
I just haven't done one in a while. But I'm gonna tell you, Tom, as a fucking man's man, we are obligated. It's not a right. We have an obligation to defend others who can't defend themselves,
right,
against evil like Jordan Neely. Now, if he's mentally ill, I hate that. He was failed in so many different ways.
I'm sorry for him too. I am.
Mainly from the man who's now grandstanding. Mainly from the man who's now grandstanding and suing because he sees an opportunity.
Yep.
But we have an obligation as men to be able to do that and to do it when that calls. So yeah, it's not a, we don't have a right to self-defense. We have an obligation of self-defense.
That's right. That's right. Cheers. Cheers to what you just said.
Cheers to that. So let's see. We got some comments.
I like Jeremy's.
Oh yeah, Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy, where you been, man? I ain't seen you in a couple in the last couple shows.
That right there, what he just posted on the screen, is exactly how I felt when I was on the job. I'd rather have it and not need it than not have it and need it. Beautifully said.
Here we go. We got look, Tom. We got man. We are international. We got Costa Rica in the house.
Bravo! You know why? Up the irons, baby. That's the #1 Iron Maiden fan from Costa Rica, right there.
You know him?
Yeah, he went to the NA with us.
Wait.
Tavo.
Oh shit! Look, my man. Yeah.
How you doing?
Look, my man. Look, my brother.
Look at that.
All right, so we got another one. Now we're from England.
Nice, very nice.
Welcome, Virgil. Man, glad you joined us, man. That's awesome.
Virgil, I'm very happy to see that you use the black heart and the yellow hand there, because we should all be saluting the yellow and black. Super Bowl bound Pittsburgh Steelers, baby. Too bad Rich isn't on here yet.
Yeah, Rich is like you, man. He's a working man, so we don't know.
I know. Can you believe that?
That's good.
He's working an office job. Don't even compare us.
That's not real work. Yeah.
No.
You and I don't know what the fuck's wrong with us, but you and I waited till we were in our 50s to start really working for a living.
I'm telling you, are not lying. Last week, it was like in the teens, and I was working on the railroad out there, freezing my ass off. And then the last 2 days, I was, we rotate in assignments. So the last 2 days, I was dumping rock out of hopper car. I was the conductor, but I still have to help, with the process.
Yeah.
Dumping rock in this like 45, 50 degree rain today, constant drizzle, and then run the train, down to the yard to interchange with Norfolk Southern and back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh God, I'm doing it wrong, but I love it.
No, well, we just it was in our area, it was the hottest November in history.
Wow.
Yeah, the hottest November in history. It's just now.
It
got up today. It's dropping. We got a cold front coming, but it got up to the 80s today.
I hate you.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, I can't stand the heat. I live in,
Come on up here. We're hiring. Can you imagine the two of us doing a podcast from the railroad?
Yeah. So, anything you want to add or cover? Anything else going on that we need to cover before we go?
I'm so glad you asked me that, and I'm so glad that Tavo's on here, being a fellow Iron Maiden fan. I've got this is my Fort Worth, Texas gunslinger shirt that got there, and a special thanks to Jim Trivet. I tried to get it at the Fort Worth show, and they sold out before I could get through the long line of the size I needed. So my buddy Jim Trivet, he got me the shirt the next night at the San Antonio show, so I'd have one, and I'm extremely excited. So thanks very much for hooking me up. But the reason I brought up Iron Maiden is because I wanted to put a big shout out to Iron Maiden's drummer of 42 years, Nico McBrain, just retired this week at age 72. And I just saw him touring the last couple weeks ago.
So he was there when you were in Fort Worth? He was there?
Yep, Fort Worth and Pittsburgh. And then he announced his retirement just this past week. I was like, woo! So
yeah, well, that's awesome. Yeah, at least you got the same before he retired.
I got in Iron Maiden when he joined the band in 1983, so we kind of came on together, and now he's going out. Well, I'm not retiring yet. I'm still.
Well, good deal. Well, we're going to, I think tomorrow night, I don't know if you've, let's see. So, I don't know if you saw Sunday night with Deirdre and I. She just came back from North Carolina.
I did see a little
and the stories over there are just it's unbelievable. I've been through some really bad hurricanes. You know that.
Yep.
But 3 months, they're still in phase 1 in a lot of areas.
Yes, and here they're still shoveling money over Ukraine while that's going on.
Yeah,
embarrassing.
Well,
totally embarrassing.
So to give everybody a just kind of, so we touched on this. Deirdre had one of a lady from a foundation that she's been working with come on, and her and Deirdre has been doing some investigating reporting in the last couple of days, and we're going to come on tomorrow night. Local hotels are not allowing locals, even though they're paying, to be if it's a 75-mile radius, or they can't stay in that hotel. And because what
milk money out of the people that are down there to repair?
Well, this is what I'm gonna give a little. I guess a little spoiler for tomorrow night. It looks like
a spoiler phase.
It looks like there are a lot of illegals, migrants staying there.
Oh.
That's what Deirdre and Nadine have been working on the last couple of days. And we're going to blow the lid on some stuff tomorrow night.
Ooh, that'll be very good.
So tomorrow night's going to be a good show. They've been working hard on it. And it looks like, because we talked about it the other night, and we suspected that. And they started working on it, and it looks like what we suspected is true. There's a lot of migrants that are staying in these hotels while residents of the Asheville area are staying in tents and fucking freezing. And you have people like this foundation with money. They've been working hard and have raised some really good, enough money to help people. And they can't even put them in hotels because these local hotels will not allow local people to stay in them. And it looks like they're allowing illegals to fucking stay. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
hopefully a lot of this will be addressed. One thing I want to say too, I really appreciate the fact that there's been a lot of concern about Donald Trump's statement about deporting people and how aggressive he's looking to. But I thought this week he made an extremely what would you say, bridge building statement. He basically said we got to control the flow of illegals coming into this country, but let's take care of the dreamers. And I hope that message for people that are anti-Trump or that are scared to death that the firing squads are going to come out and all of a sudden they're going to be doing all kind of heinous things to be. That's not what he's about. That's not what this country's about. And I like
the liberals are just trying to scare people, Tom. You know that they're just trying to put fear in people's. They did that during the entire election.
Yeah, but good for him for learning.
We're not even close to that point.
Well, no.
Now I'm going to tell you this: when it comes to immigration, I am a conservative. But there are some things that I'm have liberal views on. Mm-hmm. Gay marriage, I am 100% in favor of gay marriage. I have no issue with gay marriage. Immigration is one of the most conservative issues that I have. Mm-hmm. We are so far from that, Tom. They're trying to focus on that just so they can nail Trump down because he's pretty easy to get him saying dumb shit.
Although he's
doing a hell of a job right now, though he is not. Lately, he has done a hell of a job. They're trying to get him, but we're so far. They have let this thing so out of control. I'm going to tell you right now, dreamers, people, they're the least of my worries. We're so far from that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad that he said that, though, because
what I want? Go take control of fucking Aurora, Colorado with these fucking Venezuelan gangs. We aren't even close to that. We're not even quit talking about drink. We're not even there.
Right.
We're so far from that.
Yep.
Quit trying to make it something that it's not. They got the right guy with Tom Homan. He's the right guy. They're going after fucking criminals. Yep. Let's get all the criminals. Let's get that under control. First thing, let's seal the fucking border and stop the influx.
Yes, let's keep all the terrorists and the Chinese and all these other.
Let's get that going, and then we're so far down. That's so far down the line. Yeah. They need to chill out on it.
I agree. Yep.
So, anything else? Anything else before we close?
I can't think of anything.
Well, good.
Always an honor to be on here with my friend. Always an honor.
Well, I'm glad. No, cheers to you, and I'm glad we're here for another one. So,
and Tavo, hi, buddy. I'm glad you jumped on there.
No, man. So so good to see our friends from the other countries, man. That's awesome. So, until tomorrow night should be back tomorrow night with D. It will be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for McLooney Live. We're going to continue talking about what's going on in North Carolina. So until then, McGee and Wells are